Sheila, and I am your host. Welcome to the Neurodive Corner, your space for all things neurodivergent. So, I am gonna kind of like get out of the way the introduction and pleasantries first so I can give people some time to jump on the live streaming. But as usual, I want to thank our subscribers, especially our newest subscribers. Thank you so much for coming back. I know this channel is a very niche channel. We are a small community, but it is a very loyal community. I was actually surprised this weekend because I was like playing around with Google and all of that stuff, and I hadn't realized that there was so much information already about this channel out there. And one of the things that they kept coming back was the fact that although it's a very niche channel, it's a channel that engages people and inspires people, and it's opening conversations from a different perspective or different perspectives. And that is very rewarding to see that people are actually getting something out of it. It's amazing. So thank you to the subscribers. Thank you to everybody that engages with the videos. Thank you if you're one of the people that supports the other side of the channel, the short, which is more like social commentary and political satire and that type of things. So thank you everybody for your support. Now, let's get into the conversation at hand. And I know a lot of you are going to say, how does this relate to being neurodivergent? And we are going to get there. I promise you. It might be through the scenic route, but we will get there. So, the live today has to do, and I'm sure a lot of you, if you haven't seen the special, you probably have seen all of the reaction videos, or like me, a combo of the two things. So what happened to me was my algorithm was getting hijacked with I I have a very eclectic, I guess I should describe it, if I'm going to describe it in a particular term. I have a very eclectic YouTube search and YouTube algorithm. But anyway, it was getting hijacked with all of these reaction videos about the Kevin Hart roast. And I was like, wait. I gotta stop and take a look at this because I am a Kevin Hart fan from the get go. Let me throw it back to the chat. Say hello to some of the people that jumped in. Thank you, everybody that's joining the live. Do all the good things. Subscribe, hit the bell, comment. You guys know how the algorithm works, so I don't even have to say, but do all the good stuff. Welcome to S3W45. I hope I got that right. Thank you. Hello. Thank you for joining the live. Make sure that you guys share and invite other people. But let's talk about the roast, right? So, like I was saying, I'm a Kevin Hart fan. I always found him funny. I always found his story very inspirational. I have his audiobooks, all of that, right? Now, there was always some problematic behaviors, like, let's not lie. That's one of the problems that we have in this country is that we romanticize and we iconize, and just the celebrity culture thing is insane. But this roast was, like I said, I kept seeing the reaction videos and I'm seeing the jokes and I'm like, wait, I gotta stop and I gotta watch this myself. I should have not. It kind of angered me a little bit. But yeah, I spent the 3 hours that the special lasts, and I said, oh my God, now I see why all the reaction videos. Like, it totally tracks. So I did a short kind of like explaining what was like the worst parts for me in the roast. And I don't want to lean heavily on the is Kevin Hart a sellout, this, that, and the other. I think the man actually proved the point that Cat Williams made. Um, but there's a reason why he's built that way as well. And I think, not to give him a pass, but we need to understand that some people are forged in trauma and can have a life like Cat Williams and still maintain their position and stand 10 toes down. And I think there's people like Kevin Hart who went through a lot of trauma, made it out, and, but still has that fear that somehow he can land back in the middle of poverty and whatnot. And that, again, that is a trauma issue because the man is a multi-millionaire. He's one of the biggest celebrities out there. Obviously, he's a cash cow for a lot of people. But this roast, it hurt my soul. I love comedy, and comedy sadly is dying. One of the aspects of authoritarian and fascist governments is that they usually come first for the comedians, the sages, the educators, the healers. That's usually what they go after because those are the people that can instill hope, can help people to think critically. They're usually the most empathetic ones. Comedians have always been and played a very important role in shaping society. And that's why I'm talking on this roast because it was a modern day lynching. And no, not necessarily the lynching of Kevin Hart. Like I said, Cat Williams proved his point. Cat Williams literally called the man such a sellout that he was going to sit there and be called a trash panda, if you know what I'm putting down, right? Like he knew when he well, again, and he went to the Riyadh comedy festival. So again, that is not my lane, and I'll let you guys go and explore why the black community is having a battle and such a hard time right now with the roast. Me personally, I feel it was the modern day lynching of the black women, and also they were trying to normalize certain things that we as a society had already determined and classified as, hey, this is not cool. So I'll start with Miss Cheryl Underwood, right? So Miss Cheryl Underwood is one of the best female comedians, bar none, that we have right now, and we still have the blessing of having her around. My girl don't play. She can do comedy. She did her thing at the roast, and she did stand her ground. When it was her turn, she killed. But this woman sat there for 3 hours and had everybody on that stage dunk on her, including the black comedians, the male comedians. And shout out to Regina Hall that sat there stone face, showing all of the discomfort and I ventured to say disgust that she was feeling. I think Regina Hall, to an extent, wanted to like stand up and leave. Honestly, she looked that uncomfortable as she should. I mean, everybody got theirs. It's a roast. And that's the whole point. Comedy is always meant to be a social commentary. It's always been meant to create conversations in a non threatening way. Comedy shapes culture, period. Anything that entertain us, and let's face it, we are screen junkies. All of us are screen junkies. One of the things that is so important about comedy is that it has to be clever, it has to be funny, it can't just be offensive and provocative just for the sake of it, which is what's happening nowadays. That's what happened at that roast, and it's not happening in a vacuum. And that's what I want people to understand. The reason it honestly should have been called the roast of Cheryl Underwood, because they touch on every single aspect on this woman's life. They called her a donkey. They dunked on her dark color. They called her a man. They continued and just relentlessly made fun of her husband's death, which she lost her husband 3 years into the marriage via unaliving and taking matters into his own hands. And again, we know that on a roast, technically it's like no filters, be offensive, like that's the whole point. It's supposed to be incendiary. But the problem with this roast is all of the writers for this special were white. All of the jokes were written by 17 white men. That is not a coincidence. That was done on purpose. They were destroying Cheryl Underwood on purpose. They're attacking a black woman on purpose. They were sending a message to the AOCs of the world, to the Ilhan Omars of the world, to the Jasmine Crockett's of the world, that we are still very much the Jim Crow country, and you guys better know your place. And the reason they are so scared is because black women have always led the voice and the march in every time that there has been any type of progress in this country. Black women are the most educated voting bloc in this country. And I'm going to say that again. Black women are the most educated voting bloc in the United States of America. No, it is not the Proud Boys. It is not the Joe Rogans of the world. It is not even the Peter Thiels of the world. And they fear black women because they know that they are relentless, they are nurturing, but they are fighters. A black woman is going to do what she needs to do, period. And Netflix, very much on purpose, I'm telling you, this is not happening in a vacuum. We just saw the civil rights law being completely rebuked. That's not happening in a vacuum. We are in the middle of the midterms. And again, this was a modern day lynching. I mean, honestly, even that, and I'm not even going to say his name because I'm not going to give him air, but y'all know the comedian that said that Puerto Rico was a floating island of garbage, right? This man, it wasn't even a joke. He makes a comment about George Floyd looking down, looking up to them, and laughing so hard that he couldn't breathe. That is not a joke. That is a man telling you who he is and playing in your face because he knows that you sold out and you are not going to defend yourself and your race. Now, the other thing that was, and this is how it relates to being neurodivergent. Every time a protected, vulnerable group gets attacked, and we normalize it and we hide it under the guise of, hey, it's comedy. Hey, there's no boundaries. It's a roast. That's what's supposed to be. We are validating things that we had already almost corrected in this society. So let's talk about Shane Gillis, right? Who was the host of the roast, right? Now, I'm not gonna have any tears for this man because he is as racist as all the other ones. But it was not lost on me, and that's where intersectionality comes in and where neurodivergence comes in. All of the jokes of the night were heavily racialized and anti-women, all of that. And we knew, we know what time it is in this country, most of us anyways. But nobody clocked what was happening with Shane Gillis. We have very much the eugenics crowd trying to come back. We are trying to normalize things that the politically correct era had solved, or at least put a little bit of a filter on, and we're trying to bring them back. And in this roast, it wasn't about only bringing the N word back and sort of like sending a message of, y'all need to stay in your lane, know your place. There was a eugenics piece to it as well. Throughout the whole night, I would say 90% of the jokes that were hurled at Shane Gillis were calling him a mental health diagnosis. He was called a Down syndrome looking individual, like that is something bad. Chelsea Handler threw a jab at him and said that he looked like a fetal alcohol syndrome baby. Not funny. Um, Most of them stopped short of using the R word, and I'm pretty sure one of them did use it and said that they were happy that you can bring the R word back. And this is why it's so important that we start opening our eyes to these things because, again, comedy shapes culture, entertainment sets the tone. Entertainment allows the permission structures that everybody's going to follow. And just because it's funny doesn't make it right. That's the other point. But it also makes you think, where is all the talent and where is our critical thinking and our support and our accountability? Intersectionality is a very real thing. Bigotry is a real thing. Right now, we are living through a very, very authoritarian government that is trying to establish a white nationalist Christian ethno type of empire. So we cannot be blind to those things and how coming down the line it will affect us. If they feel so comfortable lynching this woman on one of the biggest platforms out there and we are watching it, and I know I'm giving it air by talking about it, but we need to stop normalizing these things. We need to develop better taste in entertainment. We need to ask more from our entertainers because I'm sorry, if you can't be funny without using race or old tropes like calling somebody the R word, then what are we doing? We should be better than that. I mean, I get it that there are punchlines, but they have to be clever. You can't just be offensive and be offensive just for the sake of it. And again, even if you are, you should be thinking about the impact. And one of the things that we need to keep in mind is they are millionaires. If they want to sell their souls, it does not affect them. And if it does, it might affect their legacy. I don't know. But their attitudes, the things that they permit, the things that they co sign, the things that they endorse, wind up hurting vulnerable communities like the neurodivergent community. And again, if we allow one group to be attacked and we just normalize it and hee ha ha, he all the way, patty cake with all of these ignorance, when they come for us, neurodivergent individuals, because we don't fit the perfect mold, we can't point fingers. It takes everybody to be equal in order for all of us to be free. And until we realize that, and until we refuse to accept that this country is systemically racist, is systemically bigoted, is designed to oppress, until we start building community and taking eyes away and hurting their pocketbook, we are never going to have a better society. We are never going to be able to address inequities and inequality and bigotry and discrimination because we are the first ones that are endorsing it. We are the first ones that are laughing and saying it's okay. It's all in the spirit of comedy. I'm sorry. We need to do better. We really do. And I truly hope that you guys understand and hopefully engage and keep supporting the channel. And our mission, like I always say, is to make sure that we build community, bring representation to the neurodivergent community and the amazing people that care for them. We, again, we all need to stand side by side and defend each other's rights. Because once they get away with one group, they're going to test the waters and come for the next. That's just the way it's always been. So, as always, thank you. If you stood all the way till the end, please drop a comment. Make sure that you subscribe. I will see you guys hopefully next week again for another live. If you have some suggestions, drop them in the comments or drop them in the community posts. I read all of them. And as always, stay safe, stay healthy, lift each other up. We are all worthy. We are all worthy just the way we are. Bye, guys.